Hi, welcome. So as you can see, I've got quite the setup here. I was thinking again this morning about doing a layout, and since I'm kind of forced right now due to the weather to be working in this space, I thought instead of resist it, I might as well embrace it. So I'm going all out here to do a spread, which is really my only other choice. This is the only other spot I really can do a spread in here and get the kind of video that I want, and not just a close-up, on a small table where setup is just as hard and I don't think it's as interesting of a shot. So here I am. This is some artwork that I made, and if you watch my last video, this is a part of an installation. The other part of this that you can't see here but you can see in the other layout is a freehand drawing I did in ink of a dog skeleton as part of an installation for art school that I did many years ago. And today I decided to show this lunar side of it. Each of these, there were 4 of these hanging sort of muslin cloth white drapes for the installation that had a lunar symbol as well as a skeleton. And so I thought today I'll show the lunar symbol. So welcome in. And I also figured it's fitting that I've kind of embraced this setting to just go ahead and do a love reading, especially because I was really channeling a lot through my heart center this morning, and the song Songbird by the late Christine McVie came through really strong, which is an incredibly beautiful song, and it just keeps echoing in my mind. And so I thought, let's just celebrate all of that. Let's do a love reading. Let's celebrate the space instead of feel resistant towards it. Let's go ahead and embrace the fact that this is my, a lot of people would never show this space to the public, but I know I'm protected. I know that it's okay to do so, and I might as well just embrace it, right? So that's what I'm doing. Hi, welcome in. My name is Cynthia. This isn't typically where I read. I read in front of my altar normally, but as I've said in a lot of videos recently, it's too noisy. There's a heater by my altar that heats this whole place that's just very loud, and so late winter when it's the coldest around here is not ideal. So anyways, I'm just going to spray a little bit of this rose water to cleanse the space. Thank you for being here so much. If you have questions or comments or would like to schedule a reading with me one-on-one, there's in the description box is all that information. I'm also a clinical social worker in private practice. What else? Anything else? Anything else? I don't think so. I think I'll just go ahead and get into it. This is just going to be a collective love reading. So whatever comes out will come out for this love layout. What should you know? What should you know about the current moment whenever you catch this? What's important for this collective to understand and love? I'm going to go ahead and do a relationship layout so that this gets specific for you and the person that you are thinking of right now. And I'm also going to do a little bit of scrying as well. So in terms of the person you're thinking of, what's important for you to understand about the energy that's happening between you? What's important for you to know for your highest good? Oh, and I also wanted to acknowledge something funny that happened that was humbling. It just goes to show that there's a lot to be said for the collective unconscious. So I started using Scrabble tiles and hazel sticks in combination, drawing out of a bowl. I've seen a lot of readers do that kind of work, and I particularly kind of modeled mine off of a reader. Her name is Linda Likes Tarot. She doesn't use Scrabble tiles, but she uses shells, I think, that she made. And the funny thing is, I thought, well, I have a game of Scrabble. I can just use Scrabble tiles and kind of do that same sort of thing. And so I want to credit her for one, that she's where I got the idea. But there's this other channel out there that I've been sort of torn about and a little bit resentful towards, thinking that they may have kind of jacked my title that I changed since I found them, and was like, well, whatever, I'm not trying to compete with anyone, so I'll just change my title so it's distinguishable again. But I've been kind of harboring this sort of annoyance about it. And I checked, or I somehow I went to their channel and saw that they use Scrabble tiles, and they've been using Scrabble tiles. So it was a moment of, you know, checking myself, because, you know, they could turn around and be like, she nabbed that idea from me, right? I use Scrabble tiles in every reading, and now all of a sudden she's doing it. So there's something kind of interesting about that I just want to own and have a sense of humor about myself, because, you know, whether I think they decided to use my title or not, I'm also now using Scrabble tiles, which is something that they've already been doing. And I honestly didn't know that they were doing that. I didn't tune into it. Or maybe I might have subconsciously noticed it in their little thumbnail, but I didn't honestly see it until today. So I just want to own that and chuckle about it anyways. Yeah. So it just goes to show, right? There is no originality. There is no originality anymore. So what is going to be important for us to know for this love layout? What's important for us to understand? Oh. So the Four of Wands, which is very lovely, in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Four of Wands is shown like a wedding canopy. So there's something beautiful happening in love, at least according to the split. So really cool and interesting. It looks like there's a little bit of tension in love between you and the one that you're thinking of for this layout. But not so much, really, if we look at the numbers involved too, because in each of your mind spaces, this is going to represent us who's asking over here, and this is the loved one, the person that you're thinking of. And I'm intending this for romantic love, but always, as in any layout, there could be information that comes out for someone that's really not about their romantic interest. It might have something to do like with their close familial ties, right? But in any case, in the mind space of both of you, which is what these two positions are sevens. So even though they're a little tense in terms of what they represent, these cards, and I'll get into that, there is kind of an interesting harmony as well, because they're both sevens. So for us over here is the Seven of Pentacles. And for me, this card always indicates a feeling of fatigue, that you know your harvest is coming, but it feels like it's never going to come. And I'm taking that to mean in love. You're wondering, like, when is this ever going to happen? When are we going to come into a union? When are we going to come together? Either from an argument, if this is someone that you're already with, or come together as a couple. You're wondering, like, what is up? When is the goods? Where's the goods, right? Where's the harvest? Like, where is it? I'm starting to get tired here. This is representing you. And over there on their end of things is the Seven of Swords, which can indicate either a little bit of sneakiness. This shows me that either they're worried that you're tricking them, or they're worried that somebody's going to come in and nab you up before they can get to you. Or they are being a little bit sneaky and maybe going to surprise you, right? I don't know exactly. We'll get more clarifiers if we need to. But in any case, the Seven of Swords often indicates a kind of a thief-like energy. But it can be you. I mean, it can, in a positive aspect, it can be representing you and you're getting away with something, or sneakiness. So I don't know. We'll figure more out here. For you and your heart center, you've been in a real period of contemplation and going within about the relationship and trying to follow your own inner light and not be influenced by maybe external conflict or external influences that have felt negative or confusing or not for your highest good, right? So you've really tried to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not batten down the hatches, but like you've really decided to get serious about eliminating the noise in your life, eliminating the distractions, eliminating ego-based desires for love that are maybe a little bit more selfish, you're really trying to go within and do some kind of soul level work about this relationship specifically and follow your own inner guidance maybe. This person might be acting tricky to you to some degree, and so you're like, well, I'm not going to respond in kind. I know that my harvest is coming regardless, and I'm going to go within. I kind of think that's where you're at over here. In their heart, they want to work with you. They want to be with you. They're impassioned over you. They want to connect with you. You have nothing to worry about in terms of their desires. They want to collaborate. They want to move towards a success with you. They're committed to that. They're interested in it. But like we were kind of suspecting, there's been maybe some tension running between you with the Knight of Swords. There might have been a lot of communication going back and forth, either telepathically or literally, like in a text conversation or in the phone or even in person. Okay, I'm just going to say it. You might be communicating through music, and there's music going on between you that is confrontational at times, like love songs can be. I mean, Songbird is the song that came through for me, which is a very gentle, nurturing Queen of Cups. Christine McVie is like very much in Queen of Cups energy when she sings that song. It's a very gentle, beautiful, nurturing, harmonious energy for her. And so this is where things are headed, but it's been tense, like we've suspected here with these sevens. There's been communication back and forth, and music is coming through again. So I relate to this on a personal level, but the music is also bringing a harmony, even with these sevens here. And if you know anything about chord progression, I'd be interested to know, like, what is a seventh or a ninth, something like that could be in play. Music is important here, so I'm just going to keep acknowledging that rather than try to hide it. It's part of the reason I was reluctant to say it is because I relate to that personally. But, so I don't want this to become about me, but it's like my intuition is saying, you're supposed to talk about that, so just do it. So the Knight of Swords is not necessarily negative. The Knight of Swords is like wanting to rush in, wanting to communicate, wanting you, right? You want each other. There's an impassioned desire to communicate and speak the hard truths. And so that's what's healthy about the Knight of Swords, is that you're not mincing words, you're not playing games, you want clear communication, even if it's a little bit hard to take at times. This is the common thread that's running between you. You want a sense of balance and justice. You want fairness in the relationship, and you want honesty, and you want it to be heart-based. The two majors here are Justice and the Hermit. So you've been working very hard to create something that feels fair to you, to create something that is in a balanced state. Even with like this little thief energy over here, right, in the mind of the other party. Like I said, that isn't necessarily a negative thing. They might have been surprising you in positive ways, in sneaky ways that you're like, what? I didn't see that coming, right? So I'm kind of picking up something like that, like they're switching it up in a way that has been confusing to you at times, and you're like, I don't want to be switched up on, right? Like, I just want to know what's coming. I need to feel safe in my material reality and feel like this is really happening, and we're not just staying in the mind space, right, where I feel like I don't know if I can trust you. That's kind of where this tension is coming from. The very heart of things is a balance and justice, right? This is a really beautiful, with the scales kind of energy. Although I do have to say, with this Justice card and the Seven of Swords, this person that you love might be somebody that's got a past, right? That is like a thug, or like, somebody that, not a thug, and I don't mean thug in like a negative way. I mean it like in, this person might have, as an anarchist, I have a lot of mixed opinions about crime and criminology that not the typical person shares necessarily. So someone with a criminal past isn't necessarily something that is off-putting to me, but for many people it is. And it isn't going to be for everyone, but it might come into play here for someone where that's part of the nervousness on your end. Like, can I really trust this person, right? It just keeps coming through. That's where the apprehension has been. And rather than listen to anyone else, including the other person, you're listening to yourself, which is very wise. The hermit, to make a choice to go within like a hermit does is a very wise decision. And the way it's going is that it's harmonizing and soothing the energy here that's been a little bit tense by opening the heart center again with this Queen of Cups energy. Really lovely. Again, songbird, like Christine McVie. If you don't know that song, it's just, she even says it's a song that she isn't entirely sure where it came from. It's like a song that came from the muse, and she felt like she channeled it almost. It's a very spiritually beautiful, beautiful song. And so that's where things are headed, and that's very, at least for you, going to be welcome. And because this is the common thread running between you, it's going to be welcome for them also. Let's get some more information. What about the Seven of Swords here? What about the Seven of Swords? Tell us more about the Seven of Swords and their mindset. It's got you a little concerned, right? You're like, are you ever going to show up, or are you just going to be continually acting in this cat burglar kind of way where I don't have anything to stand on? You need something material to occur is kind of what I'm picking up. But instead of project that onto them, you're trying to go within, right? That's what I feel. What about the Seven of Swords for them? Thank you. They're surrendering that, okay? They are surrendering this mode of the Seven of Swords, which again is a little bit like thief energy. And it's not negative, like I said, and I've already laid all that out. I don't have to keep repeating myself, but they're in a rest and surrender of that type of approach, maybe, where they've been kind of, all of a sudden, again, the Artful Dodger came in, and the Artful Dodger is a really lovely, from Oliver Twist, okay? So the Artful Dodger is the one that teaches Oliver Twist how to pick pockets and how to, he's like his mentor in the streets, but you love the Artful Dodger, right? Like, he's not a negative, he's a survivor, okay? And that's coming through really, really strongly. This energy of the Artful Dodger that he's been in, and again, like the Six of Wands here, he wants to work with you. He wants to work with you. But he might be recognizing that being in Artful Dodger energy is something that he needs to lay down the swords and rest. He needs to rest that approach. He might be already aware that it's confusing you or something. I'm not sure. And he's made that choice. He's made a choice to shift that. Interesting. Now, what about this Knight of Swords? And I'm sorry, I'm saying he, and that it's because of the Artful Dodger. So that, forgive me, because I try to avoid that, but I did it very unconsciously. I only just now picked up on it. And I guess because of this Knight of Swords too, and the Artful Dodger, it's feeling masculine to me, but it may not be. You know, this could be a feminine to you, or someone who identifies as feminine. What about this Knight of Swords? What's the quality of this Knight of Swords energy here? So now we have two twos. This is a Two of Wands. It's an opportunity. There's a lot of communication going back and forth, and you both see this as an opportunity for change and to start something. You want to be starting something, got to be starting something. That's also coming through, right? Yeah, my God, the Queen of Hearts. Again, here she is. This Knight energy is wanting to come rushing towards you with a lot of communication. They may not have the style. It's going to surprise you, or it is surprising you, possibly, the level or the degree to which this person speaks their truth, or the way that it's landed for them when you spoke your truth, right? Although I sense you're not in a position of action right now. Yeah, wow, the Ace of Cups. This person it's like they're choosing you, is what it's saying here. They're choosing you, but they may be being sneaky about it for some reason. This is why either you're not aware of this yet, or how you've not let on, or the people in their life don't know. It could be anything, right? But they're making a choice, and it's a very kind of noble, like it's almost like a graduation from like artful Dodger energy now into like a divinely guided. A knight often feels like they have a much greater purpose. That's a divine purpose, for example, of the air element. They've made their decision. They're very certain about it. They want to rush towards you. What else? And wow, 2 aces here. And the Ace of Swords, they have clarity. They've made a choice to move forward in terms of communicating with you. That's really cool energy. What else to know about this? What else to know? What else to know? This involves an ancestral pattern. Look to your lineage or bloodline. Very interesting. So you might feel, there might be, I don't know, you might feel like this is a past life, or there's something to do with your ancestral tradition that has made this challenging. Like you might come from very different backgrounds. You might, like I said, you might not be sure how to handle somebody like an artful Dodger energy, just like Oliver Twist. I mean, Oliver really had no choice but to trust the artful Dodger. But the artful Dodger's teachers were people like Bill, who was very violent, but also Fagin, who was a wonderfully hearted, sneaky trick. I mean, these energies or archetypes are really coming through. You might not have known how to respond to any of this, right? You might be kind of like Nancy in this world, where Nancy has to go along to get along too in that world. But I don't know. Are you receiving the same level of devotion that you offer? Yeah, you've been concerned. I'm really picking up on that here. You've been concerned about whether this person's intentions are really well meant for you, right? Or are they tricking you? That's been a concern of yours. And they may be a trickster to some degree. They may have, like I said, a pattern of behavior like the artful Dodger. But when you think about the qualities of the lives of those people, they were surviving. They were doing what they needed to do to survive. And from the musical, you've got to pick a pocket or two, right? Like you've got to, I don't know. There's something endearing about it, okay? And you may even be conflicted about being endeared towards that for some reason, right? That, like I said, there might be some type of difference in backgrounds that have had you concerned or had them concerned, right? Like maybe you're too much of a goody two shoes. Do you know how to get down? Do you know how to party, right? Like that might be something like that. Sacred marriage, alchemy. So when we have the split card, 4 of Wands, that's sort of an echo of that, right? Like a completion, a coming together. This energy is like rushing for you guys, or you two, y'all, I should say, to kind of at least come together for a discussion. It might not be for union, but you both seem to want that with this 4. You want to have a harmonious connection with each other. Guard your inner vein of gold. Artemis and Actaeon shield your energy. And that's you in this hermit status. You've thought, this person's not just going to come in and steal from me. Maybe that's part of your pattern, is that you've given too much in the past, but you seek something that's more balanced. So you've become very guarded about, I want my harvest, and I'm not going to let someone come in and steal from me, okay? So there's been that concern, and maybe why some of this communication's been a little bit tense. Clear the energy. So that can be helpful for you, is to cleanse the energy of suspicion out of this and open your heart, like the song Songbird, right? If you really love this person truly in your heart center, it's going to benefit you to keep your heart open. Tell me a little bit about the Justice card in here. What is Justice representing for both of you? Because that's the common thread, or the heart of the layout, is a desire for justice on both sides. Can you tell us any more about justice here? I have a feeling that you can't see my head in this. I don't know, maybe you can, but I'm just going to do that so you can see me. Hi. The Six of Swords, very interesting, and it's a pip card that represents this kind of moving to calmer water. You don't necessarily want to be flinging arrows back and forth. You would rather be moving to calmer water in a communication that is a little more trusting and open-hearted. But there's still this Knight of Swords energy to watch out for, but you're both motivated to come to a calmer place of communication and not quite as suspicious, okay? What else about justice? The Hierophant, very interesting. So this might, again, echo some sort of marriage, sacred marriage, like literal marriage in the mundane, where you want to marry one another. It can also mean just more accessing your higher spiritual natures of both of you to have a harmonious, balanced, calmer dynamic between you at this point. Yeah, and then Two of Wands we have again. Here we had the Two of Wands. You both want something. You both want to start something again, like that. I don't know if the whole entire lyrics of that song apply, but the refrain, you want to be starting something, is here, right? So that's really cool and interesting. What else? Higher consciousness, this is that hermit energy. It speaks to going within and tapping into a higher understanding of things, like the sacred marriage, like a hierophant or a high priest would, bringing in the scales of justice between you, beginning something new with the Ace of, the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Clarity between you is what you're both seeking. Awakening, so that again is like hermit energy. If you're willing to go within and willing to try to approach and balance out any ego-based competitive or suspicious energies between you, by being willing to kind of forego that and go within, if you both are motivated towards a balancing of the scales here, it can create a new awakening between you. Source of life. So this speaks to me of that Four of Wands, like a completion and a marriage that is going to be a very fruitful source of life. The Seven of Pentacles, the bounty or the harvest that you know is coming, but that you've begun to doubt, honestly. That's what came through on your end of things. What are some words, either yours or theirs, from the hidden truth? What are some hidden truths here between you? What are some hidden truths about this dynamic right now between you? What are some hidden truths? Thank you. My life is not as together as it seems. So this could be for either one of you. I'm not really getting a feel. You might both be struggling to make your life feel prepared for a relationship, okay? You and I were too young. So that might have been where some of these swords came from, is that the Seven of Swords here and this Knight of Swords, there might have been difficult exchanges between you that speak a little bit to immaturity, or your lives not really being together, or still having some battles of ego, right? Where you're like, I need stability. Where the fuck is it? Maybe it's not with this person. I need to go within. That was your journey. They might be feeling like, you know, we were too immature, or you were feeling that this person's too immature, or we are too immature to be able to make anything really happen here. My life isn't together as it seems. I'm grateful for the spiritual lessons. So that's, again, this hermit energy. The spiritual lesson of what does it mean to bite your tongue? What does it mean to stop doing tit for tat? What does it mean to keep putting all your hopes on another person instead of going within, which is your task over here? You might have really craved this person for a long time and you finally gave up and went within, which is wise spiritually to do. It's been a spiritual lesson for you to realize my joy isn't in another person, it's in going within. My life wasn't as together as I thought it was because I was projecting my needs for stability onto this other person, right? That could be you or them. Yeah, here we go. I'm so attracted to you, right? That's where all these swords energy, like this masculine energy wanting to rush towards you, right? It's sexual. There's fire here. Especially on there with these wands, the 6 of wands, I feel like what other wands? The 4 of wands, right? The 2 of wands here. I left you before you could leave me. This speaks to that kind of uncertainty, a degree of mistrust, possibly because the attraction is so powerful, okay? So now what I'm going to do, let me just pull a couple of these Kipper and then I'll do a little bit of scrying and maybe pull some advice cards also. Is there any details, or are there any details that might help you to know if you can trust this layout is meant for you, or just as confirmation for someone? Prison. The rich girl, home, marriage. Someone might have felt like to be in a committed relationship was not for them, either you or them. And I'm kind of picking up that it might have been them with this kind of artful dodger. Like the artful dodger isn't somebody who would want to be buttoned up in some ways. Like he creates this aura of I'm free, like I'm free to do what I want, right? You have to pick a pocket or two. You got to do what you got to do to get by in the world. This person might have felt like to try to commit to you or to commit in general was going to imprison them, that the marriage life was not for them. They might, because this card often, it says short illness, but it's a woman in bed, and often it will come out for me in Kipper regarding a sexual relationship. This person might have felt more comfortable in sex and not as connected to like, oh yeah, love and romance and settling down in marriage. Like that's for chumps, right? Like they might have had a hard time grasping that it could be a source of life, that it could be an awakening for them. This might have been an awakening for them too, that they are in love, or that it's okay to admit that and surrender to it, right? The 10 of Swords here and the 4 of Swords, resting and recognizing and choosing a more stable life, okay? I'm gonna pull another one though. Yeah, there's pleasant letters. So pleasant communication is coming. It may be a little intense, but it's also a desire to be harmonized. It keeps saying it over and over again. But that might be where you were like, this person, they're just, they're too young, or we're not, I've moved on. I'm trying to learn a spiritual lesson. Except you can tell that you still want the person because you still want the harvest to materialize of what could be between you. You both want it. It's very clear here. You both want it, but this is just an acknowledgement. There's been a lot of challenges. This person might have felt like, no way, I'm not a type that can settle down, right? But there's pleasant communication coming between you, especially with this Knight of Swords energy and the foundation. Okay, so what else now? I'm going to try to do some scrying here. I'm seeing like a boat slip, like where you, in a harbor. Yeah, oh my God, music for sure, because I'm just now seeing notes on a scale. Music is very important between you. One of you might be a musician, but regardless, music is very important in the connection. I'm seeing islands, so there's something about being on the water with that boat slip or islands might have meaning here in the relationship. And now this is the second time I saw a cube even before I did the layout, but I remember thinking, what does Rubik's Cube have to do with this layout I'm about to do? Because I saw a Rubik's Cube, and now I'm seeing like the cube of Metatron, honestly. So it might be the feeling that this is, ooh, and now a ghost, like a phantasmic image, a ghost, Metatron's cube, something about that has meaning. And a witch's hat, I'm seeing a typical, like traditional witch's hat, the pointed black hat. So one of you might be a practitioner here. She's seated at a spinning wheel. Wow, that's super interesting. And the distaff and spindle is along a symbol of women's power, especially women who were close to the earth and practicing like a more pagan or a weaver, right? Even like Minerva is kind of coming through, like something about that that's magical in nature. For some reason, there's a song that I sang in choir years ago, like maybe in high school, called Lady of the Harbor, which is about the Statue of Liberty. So something about that song or the Statue of Liberty or a lady, I don't know, Lady of the Harbor. I keep hearing it, so I'm just going to say it. I don't know what meaning it would have, but it might have meaning for you. Oh, Lady of the Harbor, shine your light on me. That's not the tune. I don't know how I got so out of tune. Maybe that was sort of a harmony part or something. Immigration could have meaning. That's been a very intense I don't know if dynamic's the right word, but especially in the United States right now. Solidarity with the immigrant community. An anvil is coming through. I don't even really honestly know what an anvil is, except for that I think it has something to do with iron forging, but I don't know. I'm seeing an anvil though, but honestly I don't know what an anvil is. I just know what they look like. The number 7, lucky number 7, and here these 7s were here. So the 7 is meaningful. It's considered a lucky number. Labradorite might have meaning for you as a stone. I'm seeing kind of that shimmering quality of labradorite that is meaningful to someone. It's a very protective stone, semi-precious stone. With a lot of shifting energy or image, shimmering image or light when light is shown on labradorite. Almost like bioluminescence. Again, that's coming through with the water system. Something about being on water or being in the islands. Bioluminescence. There's some really famous regions in Puerto Rico that have, like the island of Culebra, that has incredibly bioluminescent waters that are just spectacular to see in person. I was very lucky to go to Puerto Rico many years ago now with a dear friend. A Christmas tree I'm seeing, so that could speak to that coming together or building a life together. A Christmas tree is often a symbol of that to me, and the gift of a harmonious and happy home. For me, because I grew up in that tradition, a Christmas tree obviously doesn't mean that for everyone, but It could also mean timing, like by Christmas, this stuff is going to be seen and witnessed and experienced by you. This song came through in another reading. It's called Force 10. It's from the album Hold Your Fire by Rush. And there's a refrain, like part of the chorus, I think, or refrain. I don't know my music terminology very well anymore, which is embarrassing since I was so committed to singing in high school and middle school and grade school. But look into the eye of the storm. Look out for the force without form. So you're both ready to do that. You're both ready to move forward and try to define or accept what can't be controlled about the other party, right? The storms of life that you can face together. And yeah, and now the constellations. The stars are meaningful here. I could keep scrying and scrying and scrying at this point. I feel like I could just keep going. There's a lot of energy flowing, but I'm also aware that my phone might die. The charge was a little on the weaker end when I started this layout. So I want to be conscious of that. The spade, I'm seeing the spade from playing cards upside down, which is the sword. And we had that ace of swords come through right here. You know, I wonder if I've mixed that up. I've always read spades as swords, but a spade is a earth-based gardening tool. I wonder if I'm like, well, no, that would be, yeah, sorry, I'm right. I'm doubting myself all of a sudden. Well, and that kind of comes into these doubts about like, is this really going to be real or happen, or can I really trust this? Yeah. So what's some advice for you now? Let's bring it back to advice. What's some good advice for you, viewer, when it comes to this relationship right now? Just know that either you're already in the process of having a lot of swift back and forth communication, or you're about to. You both are motivated towards that. You both want to be in communication. This playing card deck is an older deck from Holland, and this Ace of Spades here has Amsterdam on it, so that city might have meaning for you. And Amsterdam has canals and such, so again, being on the water, living on the water, something about that is important. Oops. What's some good advice? The High Priestess. So trust your own wisdom and discernment that you've had from going within in this hermit status that you've been willing to do. You can trust the work that you've done. You can go within and access your inner kind of feminine priestess, right? Ow, this bracelet is hurting me all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on there. Queen of Pentacles. You have what it takes to bring your desires into being and to create abundance for yourself or with this person. Your abundance is secure because you're a high priestess, because you've been willing to go within. They have access to this also. They may see you like this. We talked about a witch archetype coming through here. They may see you like that, in that light, as a high priestess, as a Queen of Pentacles, someone that can make things happen and generate abundance wherever you go. You could also be an earth sign, right? That's just in the mundane. A Queen of Pentacles could represent an earth sign. And the Page of Pentacles, there's going to be gestures made of communication back and forth, clear communication about building together. You're both interested in that. Know that that's coming. Be willing to be in the humble status of a page when this communication happens. Humble yourself. Be willing to have gentle soft communication like a Queen of Hearts would, right? Ten of Swords, surrender the ego. This person's willing to do that and is doing that. They're trying to surrender some of maybe the more destructive ways that they've communicated or created anxiety in the dynamic. Both of you may have done that at one point or another. It's not just to target one of you or the other, right? You both may have had things that you needed to surrender and lay down in order to have something healthier and more balanced emerge. Another card for advice. What's some other advice for you here before I close this reading? What's some more advice before I close the reading here? Angel whispers. To me, this speaks to the Queen of Cups and the fact that you're willing to be guided by something greater than yourself. You're willing to be in gentle, temperate energy, opening your heart. That's going to be the key to having the type of and quality of communication that you desire, not the suspicious thread that was running between you that was making both of you unsure whether you could really trust this. It's impacting you on a deep level, both of you. This relationship is, this connection. Be willing to be soft and gentle. Be willing to use something other than the swords in order to get your points across, right? Although swords are important, be willing to listen to that gentle Queen of Cups within, both of you, right? Do that by accessing the High Priestess archetype. And comfort, be willing to comfort one another. There's incredible comfort and healing and joyful, exciting new beginnings in this relationship if you're both willing to allow it and to comfort one another in a balanced state, moving to calmer water, accessing a higher degree of justice between you, right? Really amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading. I've got to be careful getting up here because I don't have my little remote to stop the recording and I've got candles burning. Let me see how I can get out of here safely. I want to do that. I might just edit this out. You might not even see this part of the reading here, but I want to make sure that I'm not doing something to be dangerous in here in my sleeping space. So again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.